Retirement for Life. Your passport to a comfortable and confident retirement. The podcast that's equal parts education and entertainment, where we break down the retirement maze with a dash of fun and a heap of wisdom from your host, Christian Sear CPA, the passionate retirement specialist and president of Sear Financial Wealth Advisors, the independent registered investment advisor specializing in the Aim Retirement System.
Hey guys, welcome to Retirement for Life. This is episode 45. Today is a real treat. You know, when I'm talking to people about retirement, I'm always thinking about numbers. I'm always thinking about things that are not numbers. I'm thinking about health. We talk so much about how to live your best life, have a life with purpose. And today we're going to be talking about something that is truly hitting every single one of you retirees out there. I'm talking about something called cybersecurity. I'm talking about emails getting hacked. I'm talking about phones popping up with messages that you should be clicking. Should you click it? Should you not? I'm just talking about something that we didn't have to worry about 30 years ago. So today we're going to break down things like what can you do to stay safe with cybersecurity? What can you do if you do get hacked? And I've brought some experts here with me. Guys, welcome. How you doing?
Good.
How are
Thanks
you?
for having us.
So this is Windsor Consulting, okay? So just a little bit of honesty here. Brooke, how long have we been working with Windsor, do you think?
5 years.
It's been 5 years. They've been protecting Sear Financial Wealth Advisors. We learned the hard way why we need people like you guys, and you are the experts. So we're going to be talking to you a lot today about cybersecurity. I do want to give you a little bit of good and bad first. So folks, cybersecurity is serious, and a lot of you are getting impacted by it. I want to tell you about my dad. The other day he goes, I got this thing on my phone and they want my credit card number, so I'm going to give it. I'm like, no, Dad, don't do that, right? Windsor helps our company be safe. You guys help our company be safe. So here's the good and the bad, okay? I'm going to give it to you first, okay?
All right.
First of all, we're friends here, okay? But the good thing is that you guys protect people, okay? You guys are making sure that companies, and in some cases, you guys are working with companies that supply the armed forces, the U.S. Army. So you're talking about some of the strictest requirements. You're helping them keep safe. What is CMMC? What is that?
CMMC, Cybersecurity Maturity Model Certification.
NIST, what is that?
National Institute of State
Standards and Technologies.
Yeah.
So just so you guys know, this is who we're talking to. So I figured if you guys can protect and adhere to the standards that the United States government asks for, I feel like you're good enough for me, right?
Yeah.
But so that's the good, okay? We need you guys. But here's the bad thing, okay? My friends that I'm talking to today, they're 60, They're 62, they're 65. You know what people like them and me, what we think about you guys? You guys are like TSA, okay? You know those people who make you show up. Brooke, how early do you have to show up now to an airport before the plane leaves?
I don't know. What do they tell you? Like
an hour for domestic, 2 hours for international.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like we didn't have to do that 30 years ago.
Right.
All right. You guys are the same way. Like you guys weren't in business 30 years ago. We didn't need you. And now we need you. So welcome. Just a little bit of background. So Brian, you're the founder of this company, right?
Correct.
Just a little bit of background. How did you get into this business?
So I was going to school for business administration. Realized that I didn't want to be an insurance agent, something like that. So I looked up what paid well and came across software engineering.
Yeah.
Went to school for software engineering.
A job. You do a lot of software engineering now.
Oh, I hate it. Yeah. So then I got a job with an local IT consulting firm in the Quad Cities. Really enjoyed that. Moved to private industry, realized I didn't really like the private industry, working at an insurance company as a network administrator. And then I went to a very large international MSP. Really didn't like what the small local company was doing, what the really large international company was doing for cybersecurity, putting the client first, stuff like that. And I was like, might as well start my own. Treat the clients right, put the effort into cybersecurity, put the effort into making sure that, everybody is protected, taken care of.
So Ryan, tell me, how long have you been with Windsor?
Yeah, so I've been with Brian and Windsor here for 6.5 years now. Speaking of insurance agents, I used to be one.
He just kind of put you down.
I'm recovering insurance.
Is that the first time he's ever put you down?
Yeah. He usually talks very highly of me all the time. But 6.5 years. When I first started, I couldn't spell IT. Now I know enough to be dangerous. But it's been a fun journey. I've watched our company grow from when I first started, I was our only salesperson, and we had 14 employees, I think, and we were all tucked into a tiny little pole barn building, and now we have 45 employees and growing to 3 locations, across the country. So it's kind of cool.
Has it been fun to watch it grow?
Yeah, it's been awesome.
Yeah. And every day is easy, right? Never a hard day. It's just easy. You just
definitely
fly by
a low stress job. Yeah.
It's just so easy. And So for cybersecurity, I sincerely feel like I'm running into this with my retirees literally on a daily basis. I mentioned my dad earlier. It's just so prevalent. And I want to talk about what is cybersecurity. I have a great story. So Jamie and I, my wife and I, are eating lunch the other day. It's noon. It's a beautiful sunny day. Windows are open. We're sitting there, and I hear this car coming down the road. And I look out the window, and lo and behold, it looks like about a 15-year-old car. Okay, so no problem, but I haven't seen the car before. Where are they going on my street? Like, where are they going? Like, they pull into my driveway. Like, okay, threat level just a little bit up.
Mm-hmm.
Right? They pull up, and the passenger gets out. And, black pants, black shirt, black hat, backwards, of course. Nothing against... what's it called when you get this pierced? All these face piercings. Nothing wrong with face piercings, okay? But this dude has 5 of them, okay? Threat level up. Next step, there's a driver in the car too, right? And apparently they were preoccupied in my driveway, and the car is still moving forward towards my house, getting closer to my house. And something happened. I don't know if they hit the house or if they jammed on the brakes suddenly and so hard that they jammed on the brakes, the car's like going backwards. So I'm like, okay, either of these strange people either hit my house or came very close. Threat level higher.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I need to go outside and see what the heck is going on. Yeah. What's the next thing they do? They go to the trunk of this just happened 2 days. Was this yesterday?
Yesterday, yeah.
Yeah. Yesterday this happened. Then they go to the trunk of their car and they open the trunk. What are they getting out of the trunk? Okay, now threat level is like at a top security breach, something.
Yeah.
I'm on full protection mode, right? So they reach into their trunk, and I'm like, oh, what's happening? Now I'm sweating. And they pull out Walmart bags. Various sundries my wife ordered, toothpaste, paper towels. Okay, it's all right. When there's a clear and obvious threat to us, we know what it is. But the thing about cybersecurity is we don't know it's coming. We can't see it's coming. There's no warnings. So let's talk. How would you explain cybersecurity? What is it, and what are the dangers?
I do think that's a good analogy, though, to kind of play off of, because I when it comes to cybersecurity, especially for, individuals, especially the retirees, the older generation that maybe, no offense, didn't grow up on computers every single day,
right,
since they were 11, 12 years old like we did.
They don't know it.
It's a little bit more foreign to them. But I think a good point to make is that if something doesn't feel right, if you do have that feeling of, should I trust this, sketchy looking vehicle that just pulled up into my car? It's kind of the same thing when you get those random text messages, or you get a Facebook message, that says, hey, I saw your picture here. And it's like, oh, I haven't talked to that person in 20 years. Why are they, sending me this Facebook message? Mm-hmm. If it doesn't seem right, it more than likely it's probably not.
It's just not in your face, right? It's not obvious.
No, it's definitely not.
It's not obvious. So how do you guys go about in your personal business? How do you go about deciding what's bad and what's not bad? How are you getting ahead of, in your industry, not just you, but in your industry, how are you getting ahead or trying to stay ahead or keep up with the bad actors? How do you do that? Like literally.
The threats are changing every day. So, you look back 2-3 years ago, it was ransomware. Now it's business email compromises. So that's on the business side. But on the personal side, it's really threat actors trying to take control of your credentials. So whether or not you're using the same email password for Facebook, for your email, for your retirement,
your accounts
portal, yeah. I mean, it's really scary on what people are trying to do in order to grab the credentials or grab your personal data for your bank account, stuff like that.
Right. So what do you tell? All right. So here's my number one rule. It's my only rule. So I want you to punch holes in this, okay? Because I'm not a cybersecurity expert, but I'm talking to my retirees. And the one thing I tell them is if somebody asks you for anything, just say no.
Yeah.
Right? If Amazon calls you up supposedly and says you need a new credit card, if the Social Security Administration sends you a text and says click here to log into your Social Security account, just anytime somebody asks you for something, and it's a sad state of the environment we're in, right?
Yeah.
Humanity is like you just have to say no. If there is a problem with your Amazon account and they say, hey, you can't ship this stuff, then you take control. You call Amazon and figure out what the problem is. If you're not getting your Social Security check anymore, you call Social Security Administration and try and figure it out, right? Is that a good rule of thumb? Would you add to it? Would you subtract from it? Or
I wouldn't trust.
Yeah.
I wouldn't trust. Your bank isn't going to call you, ask you for your Social Security number.
Right.
And they're definitely not going to text you.
No, your bank isn't going to typically text you. There have been many scams where people are falling for the Microsoft alerts. As far as, hey, you click on a link that says your computer's been compromised. Call this number in order for Microsoft to fix your alert. That's never going to happen.
It's never going to happen.
They're going to get on your machine. What they're going to do is get on your machine. They're going to try to pull up your bank account. They're going to try to pull up something, and then have you type in the credentials, and they're going to steal those credentials from you and do further damage.
And so this is scary because now I get a message on my phone, okay, and it says, hey, your Microsoft account has been compromised. And now these bad actors, correct me if I'm wrong, they are so good that when you click that link, it has the look and feel as if you're on Microsoft's site, right?
Yeah.
But what's the number for me? Again, going back to the number one rule, did Microsoft just come to you and say, hey, do something? Then say no, right?
Yeah.
If for some reason your email on Microsoft's broken, then figure it out. But because they can trick you, right? It looks like their site. Right?
They've gotten a lot.
How do they do that?
They've gotten very crafty.
How do
over
they
the
do
last
that?
Few years. I mean,
How do they make it look
It
like?
used to be pretty easy to call out these fake emails. You'd see something and you're like, oh, okay, well, that's not UPS. Obviously, it's got all these misspellings. That's not
Right.
Microsoft. But they've gotten pretty good about them. So
They can do it.
Yeah.
Okay, and then the other thing is, one big red flag used to be, remember this? Somebody is texting you, somebody's emailing you, somebody's on the phone with you. And through text, email, or phone, you can tell if English is their first language.
Yep.
Now, I guess there's ways that even people from Timbuktu can make themselves sound American, make themselves speak
AI.
perfect English.
AI
has changed the
deepfakes
game.
are
Deepfakes.
really bad.
What's a deepfake, Brian? What's that mean?
Basically where you're mimicking somebody's facial expressions. You look like you,
Could
and
you
they
do
sound like
deepfake on me?
you. Yeah, 100%.
Brooke,
It's a
is
service you
anything
pay for.
as good as the real thing? No, come on, let's be
No,
honest.
God, yeah.
So what you're saying is they can make themselves sound like Mr. Microsoft. They can make their website that you've clicked on look like Microsoft's website. So there's a lot of things that used to be red flags that aren't even red flags anymore.
Correct. So I there was an older gentleman that I know that got a call from his grandson from jail, needed money to get out of jail, and he swears that it was him through and through, but it was just somebody, taking all these sound bits. So somebody goes out to your Facebook. You record all these videos on your Facebook with your voice. They're taking all of your different snippets of your voice, put it in AI, and they can basically say, hey, say this as this person.
Did this person actually lose any money?
Yes, they did.
Yeah, we had a client lose $40,000 because their granddaughter called in a car accident. And again, somebody calls you for something, even if it's your granddaughter, double check.
Yeah.
Call dad, say, hey, is Susie really in a car wreck? They got 40 grand out of her.
We always, I mean, when we're working with our business customers, we always say, have checks and balances. If you like it, one of the most common scams obviously is, through the email tends to be those wire transfer frauds. Somebody sends an email and says, hey, we want you to reroute that ACH to, this checking account instead of ours. And it looks like it's coming from their actual customer. What we tell them is have those checks and balances. Don't just see the email, go through with it. Pick up the phone, call your client, call your customer, call your, the people that are reaching out to you. And I think it's the same thing for personal. Whether it's, it sounds like your granddaughter, grandson, son, husband, whoever it is, hang up the phone, call them back, call somebody else, like you said, verify what's going on.
Your granddaughter calls and says, Grandma, I need $40,000. Say, honey, I'm going to call you right back. Okay.
And I think this is, it almost comes back to the original conversation too of, if it stinks, if it smells like something's fishy,
don't eat it.
Don't eat it. Figure it out.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's talk about some really practical things. So I think let's start with, do we really need a password manager? Is it good? And if we don't have a password manager, what should our passwords look like, Brian? What should they look like? Like, I love cats?
No.
Okay.
No, don't use your kids' names. Don't use your dogs' names.
Right.
Don't use your cats' names.
I was born in 1962. Should I put 1962 in my password?
Probably not.
Okay.
So the recommendation is using a password manager.
How
you don't
long-
want your passwords all the same.
Okay.
So when you get a password manager, you can generate random passwords. Stores in the password manager, you don't need to remember your password. You basically have an application that fills out that password for you. Because the issue is if you're using Facebook, Gmail, LinkedIn, whatever you have, and they have the same password as your financial portal, your bank portal, all that type of stuff, it's not that difficult for these guys to figure that out.
So what you just said is, if you want to, now keep in mind, this complicates people's lives, right?
Correct.
I don't want to get an app like LastPass or Dashlane because I am retired and the last thing I want is another damn app on my phone, okay? But that is best practice because, as you said, it's generating passwords. It actually makes your life simpler if you embrace it because now you're just logging in very easily.
Right.
But even if we're not using an app or a solution like that, let's go with a couple of things. We said, don't use the same password for everything.
Yeah.
Change it up, right? And you said, let's not use any personal information. Let's not put our kids' first name in the password. Let's not use our dog's name in the password. But how about, like, if I was just going to make up a password, how long should it be? Like, what are the machines up to? How far ahead do we have to get so the machines don't crack our password in an hour?
Yeah, I mean,
20,000 character password. Where are we at these days?
Obviously, there's a fine line between making it overly complicated. If you're not using something like a LastPass password manager that can make your life a little bit easier, you don't want to make it 40 characters unless it's something you're going to automatically remember. Maybe it's a song lyric or something, which is, random strings of words together instead of, capital Chris, capital Sear, 1962 or, whatever.
Excuse me, 1973,
1973. But yeah, I mean, you definitely want to, I'd recommend probably 10 to 12 characters for most.
Yeah, it depends on who you listen to, but it's 12 to 16 characters is what the different experts out there state. Yeah. I recommend a minimum of 12.
Okay.
But then also enabling MFA, so multi-factor authentication, your Gmail.
Okay, let's talk about that. This is a great thing. So what is MFA and why should we use it? Why should all of us be using multi-factor authentication?
So it's basically there's multiple facets of MFA. So you can basically say, I'm going to use biometrics. I'm going to use a text message, SMS message on my phone. I'm going to download an app that changes out that MFA code, the 6-digit code every.
Google Authenticator's free and
Google Authenticator free. It rotates that 6-digit code every 30 seconds. And that way it's protecting you. You have random passwords within your password manager. There are free password managers out there. And then you have MFA to where it is basically something that you know what you are.
You guys again are just you have to understand what a pain in the butt you guys are to people. I mean, my mom is listening to this podcast right now, and she's like, I don't want my phone anymore. She told me the other day, you know what she wants to do? She wants to get rid of her cell phone because guys like you are telling her that she has to get a Google Authenticator, a 6-digit password, and MFA. But look, it's better that than getting compromised, right?
Yeah. Identity theft is not cheap to get out of. I mean,
We've had people get their tax returns hijacked. It's just something you have to protect yourself from. Hey there, RFL show listeners. Did you know that 97% of Americans associate the word financial advisor with simply investing money? But sadly, there is one key piece of information most retirees do not realize until it's too late, and sometimes they miss it altogether. And although retirement is this great emotional victory, sadly, it's actually the beginning of the most treacherous part of your financial life. If you're considering working with a fiduciary who works exclusively with retirees and those nearing retirement, go to aimassessment.com. That is AAMassessment.com. Schedule a complimentary one-on-one visit with me. Ask questions about your retirement situation. Learn more about our trademarked Aim Retirement System and see if we may be a good fit for you. It all starts here with the conversation. AAMassessment.com.
Well, and the way I always explain it to, most people that are out there, my parents included, is the things you care about the most, your banking credentials, your investment login, your, maybe the portal for your medical records, stuff like that. Most people nowadays are pretty used to, you can't even have a login to those things without having that text message go to your phone or, setting up an app or something. There has to, most of them are enforcing that these days. And if they're not, you definitely should, just because of the fact of exactly what we were talking about with passwords. If you are somebody that maybe reuses the same password on multiple different things, all it takes is one of those organizations having a breach. There's ways that you can look up your email address, see if your email's been ever in a compromise.
Okay.
There's very famous ones out there. MyFitnessPal is an app that a lot of people used for a long time. And LinkedIn's been compromised. I mean, Facebook's been they've all been compromised at some point. But if you find out that one has been compromised, and that the people have that password for that app, they're going to try using that email and that password on other things if they can figure out, maybe it's your Facebook,
Right.
maybe it's your Google.
They'll go everywhere and try
wherever.
and use the same.
They'll try to use it.
Okay, let's go to social media, can we?
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, and let's just, for the purposes of this conversation, let's keep it simple. Approximately 92% of my listeners are on Facebook on a daily basis. Okay,
Yep.
So let's first start with, when you sign up for Facebook by default, is your private information available to the public, or do you have to physically say, I want my information shared with the public? Do you guys know?
You have to hide that.
You have to
so it's
hide
in the
it,
privacy settings
So you
of
have to
Facebook.
actively go and do this. So what are we talking about, and why would we do this on Facebook?
You don't want to share private information because there is a lot of information that people are using in their passwords, especially the older generation is, they do use their dogs' names, cats' names.
Yeah.
So
Here's
there's
my
a
cat,
reason that
Missy.
Facebook has all of those questionnaires that come out. Hey, fill out this question. Have you ever been in jail? Here, what are your kids' names? What's your favorite color?
favorite
What's all
color?
this stuff?
Yeah,
It's
what?
And
there's
you just
one
go, what was
reason.
your first
You go to
vehicle?
Grandma's
Yeah.
Facebook, and
Yeah.
you can, right there it is, right?
Yep,
My
yep.
dog's Missy, whatever. Yeah, okay.
And there's automated tools out there that are pulling all that information to try to use brute force, dictionary text, all that type of stuff on your password.
Right. So I think it's good habit because, again, Facebook is not just doing this for you.
Correct.
They want your info out there. It makes it a more robust platform app for them. You actively have to, if you're a Facebook user, I would recommend to everybody, would you not, to go and hide and protect some of those data settings, those privacy settings.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go and make everything that only your friends can see it. Only accept people that you know
Right. I was going to say that. I mean, that's the other thing too. Don't just blindly accept every single invite that you get, even if it looks like they're a nice person from, California. Just if you don't know them, don't add them.
So here's a funny story. Okay, we've talked about a lot so far. We talked about passwords. We talked about Facebook. So we know a person in town here, a dear friend, who didn't follow any of these instructions, right? The password is my son's first name and my daughter's first name, right? My Facebook page is just out there for the whole world to see, right? Well, she gets her Facebook hacked, okay? And the funniest part is once you get it hacked, once it's compromised, it's hard to get it back, right? So now the bad actors can put whatever they want on the person's Facebook, right? And I think the ulterior motive typically is to make money. So I don't know how these bad actors are making money on this, but here's what they're doing with my friend's Facebook account right now. She apparently has turned into a crypto salesman. Oh, yeah. So she's like, hit me up if you want to buy some Bitcoin, right? So we're joking with her, right? She doesn't even know how Bitcoin's spelled.
Correct.
And I'm like, hey, what's the latest on Bitcoin? She's like, I don't know. Well, your Facebook page says you're a Bitcoin expert. And also, here's something else interesting. She's become like a travel, right, Brooke? She's a travel nut. She's an RV nut.
Yeah.
She's selling like 2007 travel rigs. Like if you want to go across the country, you should hit her up and she has no knowledge of any of this stuff. So but this is real. This happens. Yeah. Okay. How do my retirees know if the email that they received is legitimate? What are some ways that they can kind of check it out and just some easy things they can do to see if this email is real or not?
I mean, the number one thing every single time, if you get an email, it doesn't matter who it says it's from. Hover over the email address. If you hover over, it will actually show who the full email address is. If it looks like it came from, Facebook support, and you hover over it and it's a Gmail account,
right?
That's not Facebook support. They're
you
not.
You can always tell,
Gmail
right?
account.
Like, is this from Microsoft or not?
Right.
Well, if it says Jim@Microsoft.com, you hover over the email address.
Yep. And if it still says Jim@Microsoft.com, then it
as opposed to like an email address that has like 50 characters or something weird at yahoo.com.
Yeah.
Jimmy56 from yahoo.com is not going to be sending you a Microsoft email,
he's
right?
not a 1099 consultant for
What about links on email? Should we be careful about that?
Always. Definitely. You can hover over those and see where it's actually going to, because hyperlinks are very easy to spoof.
Mm-hmm.
So always hover over it, make sure that it says where it's actually going to route to.
Yeah, keep an eye out for the most common one that we see are Dropbox links. So it's going to look like you're resetting your password to Instagram or Facebook or whatever. But if you hover over it, the actual link that'll show in that little blurb will say www.dropbox.com/ all these kind of crazy characters. Once they get you to open that, then it's usually going to something that's not good.
It goes back to, I think, my number one rule that I tell people is if you do get an email from somebody, just don't do anything with it, right?
Yeah.
If it's from Microsoft and they say you need to reset your password or whatever, just call up Microsoft and say, hey, is this real? Right?
Yep.
Yeah, unfortunately, places like Microsoft, Facebook, it's not easy to get a hold of them.
They don't have 1-800 Microsoft. They're not like you guys where they pick up the phone and
right.
Yeah, that's true.
But I think worst case scenario, with the biggest companies, it's better to err on the side of caution. If you didn't reach out to them with a request, more than likely they're not just going to reach out to you and say, hey, your account's been compromised. It just doesn't happen very often.
Worst case scenario, you ignore it. You get locked out of your account. You get your account reset and you get back in.
Yeah, you reset your password.
My dad, what I was talking about with my dad earlier is he's like, I got this message from Apple and I got to give him my credit card information. And it's for my iMusic or whatever, my iTunes, whatever. And I said, Dad, if your music stops playing, pick up the phone and contact Apple. Mm-hmm. But if you're still listening to Billy Joel, don't answer the hey, you need to update your credit card.
Right. That's a very good point. Yeah, that's a very good point.
The biggest thing that we've been seeing in the past year is somebody's email gets compromised. They're using something like what Ryan said with Dropbox, or they're using OneDrive, ShareFile, one of those big platforms to post a link that is malicious. What you're going to do is you're going to get an email from a legit email. So say your email gets compromised.
Right.
Somebody sends everybody
I sent
at
it
your
to Brooke and my family members.
Yeah, they click on that link. It says log in to view the message. They type in their email credentials. Then they have their email credentials compromised as well, and it just keeps going on and on down to the next, the next people.
Don't click on strange stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pick up the phone and call them.
Right. Okay. So let's be next step here. Pick up the phone. If you were talking to my clients, who should they rely on? Who should they call? Should they call their kids? I mean,
that was going to be my recommendation. Call. If
call somebody younger. Let's just call a spade a spade.
Yeah.
Call somebody who grew up with the phone in their hand.
Unfortunately, my grandma and mom and dad and everybody, because I work in sales in a cybersecurity company, they, expect me to be the expert. But they pick up the phone, they call me, they ask me questions, and I think that's a good way to be diligent. The millennial generation, has literally had computers or phones in our hands, since we were very young kids. So, more than likely, we're probably going to be able to call something out if we recognize it. So.
All right. So now, when I am asking my new clients for the first time to send information, a lot of times they're skeptical, right?
Sure. Yeah.
We're doing a podcast on don't send stuff to people, and I am asking them to send me stuff.
Yep.
So we use a solution called Citrix ShareFile.
Yep.
And I always tell people that it's encrypted.
Yep.
So what's encryption? What does that do? When I'm sending an important document, what does encryption do actually?
Essentially, it's scrambling the message so somebody can't read it in plain text over the wire.
Oh, so if you don't have the decoder or whatever, you can't get it. So if I'm a bad actor, it's a bunch of zeros and ones?
Yes. In layman's terms, you can't read it unless you have that decoder, the key, in order to read that file.
All right. So obviously they can't necessarily call you guys for help, but are there any 1-800 numbers that go, what's that one place called, Brooke? The Nerds or whatever, Nerds or Us or what?
Nerds on Call.
Who do people rely on if they don't have somebody in their lives that their phone's broken? What do they do? Their computer isn't working anymore. Is there a national firm, or should they go local and find somebody? What do you do?
Unfortunately, there aren't any great services out there that are reasonably priced.
Right.
Me personally, I would just post it on social media. As an older individual, just say, "Hey, I received this email.
What do I do?
Is this legit?" You're typically going to get good feedback from your friends and family.
That's a good piece of advice, actually. Okay, so what we said today here is that you have to protect yourself. Passwords must be robust. Don't respond when somebody asks you for something, right? Great rule of thumb is if somebody asks you for something, just say no.
Yeah.
Don't click on stuff. A text asking you for this, an email asking you for that.
Yeah. Even text messages that don't have links. I'm sure everybody's seen them where you just get those random texts that says, "Hey, how are you?" Or "Hey, are you up for golf tomorrow?" And it's from an area code that you don't recognize. I know it doesn't seem malicious, but those people are just trying to confirm that phone number is still in use. They're trying to build rapport with you and try to get you to start a conversation. So just delete it, report it as junk every time you get those kind of texts, and move on. So yeah,
I want to say that you guys are not the bad guys.
Yeah,
you guys are not as bad as TSA. You guys have been protecting Sear Financial Wealth Advisors now for 2020, 2019, something like that. I really want to thank you for taking time to be here today to help my retirees understand what to do when they get a threat. I think we learned a lot today from you guys.
Yeah.
I appreciate you being here.
Appreciate you having us.
So just on your side, where is your website? If I wanted to see you guys, where's your website? How do we find you guys?
Yeah, it's windsorconsulting.com, and that's Windsor with no D, Winsor, kind of like Windsor whiskey, but no D.
Got it. Ryan, thank you so much for being here today on Retirement for Life. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks, Chris.
All right.
Yep.
Investment advisory services provided by Sear Financial Inc., SEC registered investment advisor. All content on this podcast is for information purposes only and should not be considered investment, legal, or tax advice. Material presented is believed to be from reliable sources, and no representations are made by our firm as to another party's informational accuracy or completeness.